And welcome to video 2. So in this video I'm just going to run very quickly through some of the books I'm going to be focusing on in future weeks, because I plan to do a couple of book reviews. I'm not going to go into it too much now, I just want to show you what I've been busy reading lately. So the main thing I've been reading lately is William Barrett's Irrational Man. This is a philosophical primer covering all the sort of main philosophical ideas right back from the ancient Greeks to the present day, and I'm almost finished it. I mean, I'm up to about there. I've been underlining lots of it for when I come back to do my book review. It says here it covers all the main philosophers: Augustine, Aquinas, Pascal, Baudelaire, Blake, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy. Some of these aren't like technically philosophers, but they kind of are. Like, for example, Dostoevsky, but he's well known as like one of the great psychological writers. Tolstoy, Hemingway, Picasso, Joyce, Beckett, Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, Heidegger, Sartre. Yeah, like, it's really quite in depth. In actual fact, Woody Allen did a film called Irrational Man. I think he must have borrowed from that book. So that was that's what I've been reading very intensively the last couple of weeks, really. Also, I've been looking at this book. I've been dipping in and out of it so far. It's 1,000 words to expand your vocabulary. I got this book from The Works, which is a discount store here in the UK. This book I'll just be dipping into in and out every once in a while, just because it's got some really good words in here, and I love words, as I've talked about elsewhere, because I see words in colour, and I think that kind of makes them a bit more interesting for me, and I just like words, basically. It's something I'm good at, and I think because I am good at it, and because I have got such a good memory for words, they tend to, like, once I've heard a word, like recently I heard the word nugatory for the first time. It was actually in The Irrational Man, and I'm still trying to remember what it meant, but I was like thinking, I learnt a new word recently, and it's called nugatory, and I looked it up. I pretty certain it's sort of in there somewhere, its meaning, nugatory. I think it sort of means, I'm not entirely sure, it's sort of not needed or not necessary, something like that. I'd have to double check. But anyway, that just shows, because I was really pleased I actually remembered that word, because I'd only seen it once, and then the next day I was like, I remember that word, nugatory, so it just stays in my head. So I think I've got quite a kind of, sticky-like brain, as it were, for words. Once I've heard a word, like a hard word, one I haven't heard before, it tends to stick, even if the meaning doesn't stick immediately. The word will definitely stick, as I've just shown there with the word nugatory, so I was quite pleased I remembered that word. So yeah, I do love words, but I'll be coming back to this book in future to do book review on that. The other thing in my life recently that I've been really enjoying is a Channel 4 series called Humans here in the UK. If you're not in the UK, you might not be aware of it, but it's been running now. We're on series 3, so it's been running for quite a few years. I've just finished watching episode 6, I think that is, and it's a sci-fi drama set in a sort of dystopian Orwellian future, where because we're all aware, right, of the potentials of robots, but this is a world where the robots it's very, very how can I say, well, it's creepy, because they actually look like human beings. They resemble human beings. These synthetics, as they're called. But they only differ from humans, really, in their way of conducting themselves, in a very wooden, sort of rigid manner. The humans are using these synths to do all their sort of dirty, menial work for them, like almost using them, sort of like servants, like I did in the olden days. And one such family, Catherine Parkinson, I think that's her name, the actress, I think she's called Catherine Parkinson if I remember correctly, plays Laura in this family, and they've taken on a synth called Mia. That's back in the first series, but Laura starts to become aware that Mia isn't quite as synthetic or robotic as she's supposed to be, that maybe she actually is displaying signs of being sentient and having consciousness, and Laura actually checks this out to confirm her suspicions by taking a needle and sort of poking, or trying to poke Mia in the eye. She doesn't poke her in the eye, she kind of goes really close to her eye, and then she sees her eye, like, I think it's like her pupil or something dilating to show that, you know, Mia is actually really terrified and actually is actually becoming sentient, because if she was a robot, she wouldn't flinch. So that's like sort of proof of Laura's suspicions. And the Simps were created by this scientist called Elster, and it seems to be part of Elster's plan, but I can't quite remember because the series has been going on for so long now. But it seems that Elster had some sort of plan that at least some of these Simps would become conscious. And in the last series, Laura's daughter, Matty, her teenage daughter, actually broke the code. It was called Day Zero. She broke the code, enabling all the Simps to become conscious. There was some code there that was in their design. Elster had obviously, the scientist has obviously put into their design to give this potential for all of them to become conscious. And it was Day Zero, and they all started to become conscious, with massive effects for humanity, because humanity doesn't know how to deal with this and is obviously terrified about the sort of ramifications, what this will do for society. I think there are some very interesting sort of philosophical lines here about what is consciousness. You know, when do we need? You know, does consciousness mean that? Does that alter how we respond? You know, it's all these philosophical lines of thought. I really do want to write a blog about this, because I've got some ideas, but they're only just crystallising. And some of the Simps, of course, have become very, very angry and resentful at the way they've been treated by humans. You know, sort of like doing the dirty work for humans, being treated like they're slaves. And some of the Simps that have become conscious, you know, are wanting revenge. Like, there's one Simp, well, there was a psychotic Simp in the last series called Hester. She was like a sorry, I should say she was a psychopath. Not psychotic, she was a psychopath. She was not a very nice one at all. She was like cold and heartless, but and then there were some not very nice Simps like Hester, and then in this series, my mind's got blank, so I can't for the life of me remember her name, even though she was a really important character. Oh dear, it'll come back to me another time. But yeah, in the latest one, there's another Simp who, she's not a psychopath like Hester was, but she still wants to have revenge on the humans. But you could argue quite rightly so, because she has been really badly treated by them, and she ends up committing an act of sort of a suicide bomb where she blows herself up, which kind of it was very, very, had a lot of parallels to 9/11 actually. So this group of Simps, you know, some of them are just really, really angry. So this series does really shine a lot of light on prejudice, you know, discrimination, a lot of very pertinent modern day issues as well about marginalised groups in society and how they feel and how they react, a lot about politics, philosophy, and also maybe some parallels with autism as well, though it's completely different. But the Simps kind of occupy this kind of, the conscious Simps occupy sort of liminal space really, where they're kind of not quite, they're not synthetic, they're not robots anymore, but they're not human either, so they're in this sort of no man's land, and that kind of maybe has some parallels for how some people with Asperger's might feel, where they're kind of like almost in no man's land, because they're kind of, they look and appear to all you know, they look like anyone else, and yet they're still different. And yet these conscious Simps, on the surface, they appear quite similar to the humans, and yet they're not like them, and they do experience a lot of prejudice and discrimination. So I thought some of those issues maybe are worth exploring, and I'll be thinking about writing a blog on this later when I have more ideas. It might take a little while though, and hopefully I will write this blog. I can't say 100% I will, I don't want to set any promises, but I really hope I will, because it's, you know, there's a lot of very interesting stuff there about this programme that could be relevant to autistic people. So do any of you enjoy sci-fi? Have any of you been watching Humans? Do let me know, and I'll be coming back in future weeks to do those book reviews. I don't know whether I'll be able to do that next week, because it depends on whether I've finished the book. But I hope you've enjoyed watching my videos today. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. Please do let others know about this channel as well, and I look forward to speaking to you next week. So thank you for watching.